What's up, everybody? What's going on, guys? Thank you for being here. We're going to be
Howdy.
talking about the 2020 election, what happened in Detroit, the investigation part 1, 10K ghost voters and ballots exposed. And I'm hearing an echo. All right, I don't hear an echo now. Can you talk? Okay. All right. Well, first thing I want to start with is the situation that's going on in Minnesota. And I got a clip here from CNN. A protester went over there to give them a bunch of grief, and they found out they were CNN and they walked away. Let's go ahead and take a look at that video real quick.
A growing smaller crowd. This is controlled. The scene spans several blocks. We are here at Portland Avenue and East 35th, but it goes at least 2 or 3 blocks.
Who are you? Who do you work
thank
for?
you.
Who do
Hold
you
on.
work
I'm
for?
sorry. We're with CNN. It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your help. I'm sorry. I think people are getting upset. So that is the latest here on the ground, guys, and I'm going to send it back to you.
Seem to be a little upset having reporters on the ground there for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't want the truth to come out. Did you happen to see some of these new videos from the situation that happened there with the lady that got that tried to run over?
Oh, it gets no better for that lady. She really messed up. Everybody's trying to put it off on the ICE agent. You know, he was just wielding his power. But really, the more you look at it, the more videos that come out, the more it's like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah, like this one here. If
They
have it zoomed in.
And then I saw her face.
Okay, I don't know why they put that music on. As you can see,
with it.
he's getting drugged around, so that happened. And then I got this other video from Alpha News. This is the one that people really was like this. Well, this kind of cinches it. He's not going anywhere because Democrats are like he's going to jail. Like, no, he's not.
No.
All right. I feel bad for the dog, though.
I'll talk about that in a minute when the video's over.
I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. You have friends. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car.
Does that mean he wants her to go down on her?
Out of the car.
Oh! Holy shit. Yeah, I've seen that. If a lesbian woman looks at you and says, come over here and get you some lunch, does that mean that she wants you to eat her sandwich?
That ain't what she said. She
said, come over and get you some lunch.
No, she said, go away and get some lunch, is what she said.
Oh.
What she's saying is mind your business. Get away from me.
I thought she wanted him to eat her sandwich.
No.
It's like I've got bologna sandwiches for everybody down there. Well, on the upside, she's a millionaire now.
Yeah, I heard. She got $1 million. People donated to GoFundMe after getting her girlfriend killed. Good job.
That's I'm gonna tell you something about lesbian couples. They're the meanest. Like to each other.
They have the highest rate of
domestic.
Well, no, I was going to say of divorce.
Well, and domestic violence too. It's up there. What's up, Stormbringer, Andrew? Yeah, because okay, imagine this. Like, you've got a man lady that's got emotional outbursts like women. That's with like just like every lesbian couple I've ever known, like I'm leaving my man because I want to be with the woman because she'll treat me right because she knows what a woman wants. They always come back with 2 black eyes and a broken jaw and in a keyed up vehicle. And the law, when you call the law and say, she's beating me, the law will just be like, it's 2 women going at it. Pretty equal.
Well, I think the biggest problem with that, 2 women, if you watch some people that try to use psychology to figure it out, most time it's because both sides are neurotic. The reason
that goes great. You put those 2 together.
The reason it works really well with a man and a woman is because one's neurotic and one isn't. And when you have 2 neurotic people, it doesn't work out. But if you have 2 people that aren't neurotic, it works out really well.
Yeah, it works out super well. My wife
that's why gay men have the least amount of divorces.
Yeah, they just have really bad hemorrhoids.
Yeah. Anyway, I got this video of this.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, you mentioned something about the dog. Okay, I did feel bad about the dog because I'm an animal lover, and I noticed that dog was, had to see that. But what's even worse is that lady was the one who got unalived, married 3 times, 3 kids.
Yes, the 2 kids in Colorado with her first husband.
Right, and so the third one was being drug around with these 2 crazy nut jobs.
Well, he wasn't with them at the time. They
no, not at the time. Not at the time. There's a school, but I'm saying it. But like he was living with that woman and that woman, and so like what happened there is now that whole situation went down. Now the child is out of that crazy home and is with the grandparents. Unfortunately, the dad passed away after she divorced the dude. He passes away for whatever reason. The family member of the brother-in-law says that woman was crazy and she should have never been there. And they were probably screwing that kid up. I can only imagine what it'd be like a day in that home with that thing. So the 6-year-old kid is safe, a lot safer, unfortunately, under these circumstances.
Well, this individual's talking about what happened in Minnesota, and he has a pretty interesting perspective. I tend to agree with it. So let's go ahead and list it.
Gang, yes, that ICE agent in Minnesota was defending himself. What the hell is wrong with y'all? What wasn't y'all watching? Was our ass watching the same video? And why was she blocking off the street? Y'all getting y'all ass on this internet talking about she was a mother of 3. She knew she was a mother of 3 before she pulled the shit she pulled. Why was she blocking off the street? Why did she try to pull off when the agent was holding on to her car? She tried to run them over. What is going on? We all seen the same video. Stop this shit. And the same ones on this internet screaming for the federal agent, the ICE agent, to get locked up because he defended himself. Y'all ass was just on this internet and still is on this internet making fun of Charlie Kirk because of what happened to him, because your ass got butt hurt because he told y'all ass the truth. Y'all still spitting on that man's grave. Talking about, he was racist because he was honest. He was honest with everybody, not just the black community. But again, when people tell y'all ass shit y'all don't want to hear, y'all want to assassinate their character. Y'all want to destroy their legacies. Y'all talking about, she was a mother of 3. Again, she knew she was a mother of 3 before she decided to go out there and like, hey, let me go over here and run some motherfuckers over. What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? Stop this victim shit.
I said that from the get-go.
Even if it wasn't a federal agent, what do you think gonna happen if you try to run over somebody with a firearm? Do you think that's smart? She knew exactly what she was doing. And all the people out there complaining, why the hell y'all ain't try to intervene and tell her ass to get out the intersection? Why it take for the ICE agents to pull up and do all that? Y'all like getting out there causing a disturbance, and then as soon as some shit hit the fan, then y'all ass want to start the waterworks. But always remember, before y'all start this performative shit, all this weird ass marching and shit, y'all are not the party of peace. We seen y'all real sad before the incident with Charlie Kirk. But y'all really showed y'all ass around that time. Again, say them goddamn tears. Respect law enforcement. Respect authority. What y'all think gonna happen? Come on now, I'm not even a federal agent. I'm telling you, if you try to run me over and I got that hot shit on me, trust me, it ain't gonna end well.
Damn. I didn't find, dude. I wonder if that's true. If she was burning them with cigarettes.
Well, look, I saw a video about that, and I tried to confirm it, and I haven't been able to confirm it from news source or anything else. So I don't know how true that is. And the other thing, it's not her that was burning the kids. It was supposedly the girlfriend that was beating and burning the kids. Now,
She looks like a beat. Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. The 12-year-old and 15-year-olds never live with them, ever. So, and the 6-year-old, as far as I know, when it comes to that, doesn't have any signs of that happening. So I don't know if that's true or not. I'm waiting for more information. I'm waiting for actually a real news source and not just someone making videos trying to get clicks.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not. So
I
we're going
haven't
to
heard
stay
that
away
either.
from that part. But I've heard about it. But I was like, I don't know if it's true.
Hey, but they did own a handyman service.
Well, here's the other thing. Also, I decided to go to Grok and ask that question about it. And Grok's like this: there's no articles or anything talked about that. Did it happen? People have made videos. We're waiting to actually get confirmation if that's true or not.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, the handyman service is true though. That was actually
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Grok did. That's what I was going to bring up. Stormbringer. You're reading my mind. Bird should be arrested for shooting Ashley, right? That's exactly right.
And owning a daycare center that made over $190 million in the last 4 or 5 years with no kids in it.
Well, here's my problem with that part. When it comes to police report, that stuff can be AI generated. So I'm just waiting for something other than that to actually corroborate it. Because I'm telling you right now, AI is a bitch. They'll fool you.
Yeah, I mean, we're not saying you're lying to us. We're just going to make a little bit more confirmation it comes out. If it does, we're going to give you big props.
I don't want to give people information that's not true.
But Officer Byrd, our DC police Byrd guy, he's got $190 million.
Yeah. Well, here's my problem with the whole Ashley Abbott thing. I'm like this. Look, if you compare these two situations, number one, Ashley Abbott didn't have a weapon at all. She didn't have a gun, a car, knife, nothing. But but this woman, she had a car. She actually hit the officer. So
and a mental illness.
Supposedly, yes. She had a lot of issues. Here's my problem. When the Democrats decide to move that goalpost, and that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to move the goalpost, saying she was unarmed, which is not true. When you have that car, you're armed.
Yeah, it's a deadly weapon. Baseball bat, anything that has that is like a cheater bar.
But then, if you bring up Ashley Abbott, they said she shouldn't have been there. She had no business being there, and she got what was coming to her. And I'm like, well, I could say the same thing about this woman if I wanted to.
Yeah. When you drop your kid off at school, how about going to work or just staying at home and drawing a check like you've been doing?
Elon has more kids than the Smalley daycare.
The Leering Center.
Leering Center.
They're going to change the word to leering by accident because of that. Because nobody says learning anymore. It's all about what'd you learn today?
All right. Now we're going to go ahead and change subjects. Get to the 2020.
Dude, hey, did anybody see the video of what that crazy nut job was doing before she was unalived? Like when she just honking on her horn, like this. And just. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, that was wild. I mean,
the thing is, if you're gonna argue that Ashley Abbott rolled the dice and she lost, then you should say the same thing about this woman.
Except for that one had one pair. She didn't have both dice. She just had one. She was going to lose, dude. One other thing too, before we change subjects, my helper, he's cool. He's pretty conservative and he's open to all kind of stuff. But for the little bit there, he was like, "Man, I don't see why I even did that. I can't believe that. I need to see more video." And finally, they released a video of the actual angle where the cop gets hit, but I didn't have it right away, so I didn't argue with him. I was like, well, trust me, and from what I've seen so far, and I left it at that. Well, I sent him the video of the one where the cops bouncing or the ICE agents bouncing off of the hood. He goes, "Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm good. I just wanted to see a better angle." She deserved it. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I would say she deserved it, but the thing is, you shouldn't be surprised whenever you hit someone with a vehicle and they decide to go at you back. That just should be surprised. But let's go ahead and go to the 2020 Detroit's election investigation part 1. Now, this has to do with ghost voters in this particular part 1 of the investigation. Now, I decided to use AI to read the article so we can get through it faster because, me and Romeo
We're
read
kind of retarded.
Me and William read really slow. So it's not only that, I could pause it, we could talk about it, stuff like that. But let's go ahead and listen to it. Now, the first part of it, they're actually giving you a recap of what happened during 2020 when it comes to the blue wall. That's Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania.
Not the blue waffle.
Detroit election investigation, part 1. Over 10K Detroit voters made same bizarre ghost vote marks on ballots in 2020 election, were mismarked ballots sending a message to voting machines or meant to trigger adjudication. After years of being gaslight by some of the most dishonest people in government and the media, the Gateway Pundit, along with some of the most respected election investigators in the state, are looking forward to blowing the lid off the lies about Detroit's secure 2020 election that helped to give Joe Biden with an inexplicable victory in the must-win state of Michigan. On election night 2020, President Donald J. Trump appeared to hold commanding leads in key battleground states, approximately 100,000 votes in Wisconsin, 300,000 in Michigan, and 700,000 in Pennsylvania. For Joe Biden to erase those margins, his performance in the outstanding vote would have needed to be dramatically stronger, particularly in heavily Democratic strongholds such as Detroit, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. As the night wore on, reports emerged, often inconsistent, that some precincts had stopped counting, sent workers home, or restarted tabulations under unclear circumstances. To this day, there is confusion and disagreement over the extent of these pauses and whether any state laws or procedures were ignored in the process. What cannot be disputed is that vote totals from Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania continued to change throughout the night, long after many Americans had gone to bed. By the early morning hours of November 4th, Wisconsin had flipped blue. Next to flip was the must-win state of Michigan. Days later, Georgia and Pennsylvania flipped for Biden as well. For many observers, the stunning vote turnarounds, combined with conflicting reports of election night disruptions, fueled deep skepticism about the process's integrity and transparency. Judges in Michigan dismissed cases without allowing testimony from eyewitnesses or election integrity experts or even reviewing a shred of credible evidence. The media mocked anyone who tried to prove election fraud or malfeasance. Cowardly Republican members of the Michigan Senate, like Ed McBroom and Lana Tice, joined Democrats who added their seal of approval to a so-called report stating that there was no evidence of mass fraud in Michigan's 2020 election.
Sorry. And the reason them two actually did that is because they were trying to further their career with the Republican Party, and they thought doing this would actually help them in the long run to get them into a Senate seat or into a House seat when it comes to federal government. And it didn't happen.
No.
In Detroit, affidavits signed by dozens of poll challengers claiming they witnessed fraud were ignored by lawmakers and law enforcement, including the state's top law enforcement officer, Democrat Attorney General Dana Nessel, who mocked and threatened anyone, including members of the media, who dared to challenge the election results.
I think me and Williams had a conversation about affidavits and how we had some content creators talking about how important these were to actually proving the 2020 election was stolen. And then you had these people in like Michigan, Wisconsin, all over the country that had it stolen in those states, pretty much ignored them. Didn't use them to actually show the evidence or hear testimony from the witnesses of what happened. Not only that,
Yeah.
they didn't even have court cases in a lot of these places either. They just got thrown out because the judges didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's a problem, in my opinion. You know, do you recall when this all was going on, there was supposed overhearing of screaming and hollering, and in one of the judge's chambers where they were, kind of pressing this judge to look at this, and he was screaming, saying, "I'm not going to look. I am not getting such and such and such and such." And
It's because a lot of these judges don't want to get involved in the political part of it. That's the reason the Supreme Court, in my opinion, didn't get involved, because they looked at it and they remember what happened in 2000 when they had to get involved in that election with the hanging Chad crap. And they're like,
Yeah.
this, you know what? We'll pass.
Well, the problem you run into is, yeah, I understand that, but when you have legal signed affidavits that that do have, if you find me where I'm openly telling a lie, I'm trying to do something, then I can face jail time. That ought to say something. That ought the judge just say, well, look, this isn't being political. Let's see what election laws are, and let's first of all, by the way, let's look at your election laws. Okay, your election laws state this, this, this. And then they'll say, no, we changed them. And they would say, well, you changed your election laws. I mean, and it would have been easy to say, so you went through all the normal processes to change your election laws? And it went, no, we just did it real quick because we had to do it. Then immediately by law, then they would have threw all all of those election rules would have been out the window, and then everything would be illegal.
Well, we need to explain what you're talking about, because some people might not know. What William's talking about is in some of these states, they decided to actually use the Secretary of State to change election laws instead of going through the Congress of that state. Just like the federal government, when you make a federal law or a state law, you have to go through the legislature. They did not go through that process to make these election laws. Instead, they allowed the Secretary of State to make them up as they went. And the reason they allowed them to do that is because of COVID. That's what initiated the whole thing. Now, what's interesting is some of these laws they actually started changing back in 2019, 2018, before COVID even hit.
Yeah, it's like they knew something was going to happen, but maybe that was a coincidence. But regardless of whatever circumstances they had for an argument of changing election laws outside of the actual law book, that doesn't make it legal. Regardless, you would have to say, okay, any judge that would allow you to break the law because of some sort of pandemic, even though, yes, let's just call the pandemic legitimate for the argument's sake. Nothing. I'm not saying it was, but let's just say for argument, say that it was a real pandemic that was totally organic. It still doesn't give you the right to break the law and change election laws in your state because of such. You have to bite the bullet, and you have to work with things the best that you have, and then change things along the way.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just giving you their thought process on what they did.
I know. I'm listening.
And then if let's say if it did go to court and a judge was willing to listen, that doesn't mean they're actually going to agree with you in your viewpoint.
Right. But I mean, but the thing is law is law. If you apply law, there's no.
I understand, but here's the thing. A law is subjective by the person who's actually determined what the law means.
Well, that's why, and you're exactly right. And the only thing I'm going to add to that real quick is there are a lot of young people who want AI to do this, because then it takes away that aspect of human input, which could be a good or a bad thing. But it's, if you have people that are of moral content and character, it wouldn't be a problem. But these colleges, media, a lot of things, not just colleges, but a lot of things have been at the forefront of changing how humans operate. And that's where you run into that, because you're right, Matt. Some judge could say, well, you know what? This is how I feel today. Just like the judge that was in Minnesota that tossed out that $7 million loss, guilty verdict against those Somali people. She just with a strike of a pen, that was this is how I feel today. And that's the problem. But we could have a lot of ifs, ands, or buts about the whole thing, but this is how it happened. This is how it went down.
Well, that's why elections are important when it comes to judges too. Some of these judges are elected in, and some of them are actually put in by the governor or the president. That's the reason, especially executive positions like governor, mayor, and president is so important. It's because they need to actually be able to vet these people. And unfortunately, when it comes to the Democrat Party, they don't care about vetting. What they care about, are you the same ideology as me, and will you follow my lead whenever I decide to do something?
Yeah, and the bad thing we also are up against too at this point are a lot of people have taken multiple Fauci sauces and have destroyed the frontal lobe of their brain.
Well, let's go ahead and check out some more of this article.
The City of Detroit election results were certified under duress by 2 Republicans on the Wayne County Board of Canvassers, who received multiple threats over their initial refusal to certify the results. Wayne County Board of Canvassers Chair Monica Palmer received a photo of a dead teenage girl, along with a death threat against her adolescent daughter, over her initial refusal to certify the election results. Monica Palmer agreed to certify the results only if she was assured that a full forensic audit would be conducted. Her terms were agreed to by the other Democrat Canvass board members. After she and her fellow Republican Board of Canvassers member agreed to certify the election, Michigan's Dirty Democrat Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson informed them that no such audit would be performed. An astounding 70% of Detroit's absentee counting boards were out of balance in the 2020 election, according to Michigan's strict rules on recount eligibility.
So pretty much, Jocelyn Benson actually promised to do a full forensic audit of the 2020 election in Detroit for these 2 people, and they would, as long as they did that, they would sign off on the election. They signed off the election, and then she's like, "This, I'm not doing that now. You have fun." And that's the problem with trusting these people. You can't. They will take advantage of your naivete and then do whatever they want after you sign off on things. That's the reason at that point, people that are Republicans, whenever you think an election like that is going on, that something strange happened, you're not willing to sign and certify it. You need to stick to your guns and say, "Screw you, put me in jail."
Yeah. There was there was one guy that did that, and they removed him and put, or something like that. I forget what state that was at, but he put up a big fight.
That was in Arizona. It was Mesa, Arizona. They didn't put him in jail. They threatened to charge him, and they were about to charge him. And he went ahead and said, "All right, I'll go ahead and sign off on it, but I'm signing off on it in distress."
That's right. Yeah. Well, he should have never signed off on
it. Well, not everybody's willing to go to jail for their principles, you know.
Well, those lefties out there are, but and that's the thing about it. They love it. That's the difference. We've got to start really,
MCL 168.871 and related sections in Chapter 33, precincts certified as out of balance, without explanation, are ineligible for recount, meaning ballots couldn't be retabulated in a formal recount process. Election workers, who were repeatedly accused by poll challengers of working with Democrats to steal and cover up the steal at the TCF Center where absentee ballots were processed in 2020, whisked away all ballots and tabulator tapes where, along with absentee ballot applications and envelopes, were stored until which time, according to state and federal law, 22 months, they could be destroyed. Independent investigator Yehuda Miller of New Jersey put a large kink in any plans Detroit election officials had to destroy election documents from the 2020 election when he successfully sued the city of Detroit and Wayne County after they denied his FOIA request for all election-related documents. In September, Miller drove from New Jersey to Detroit in a U-Haul, loaded almost 1 million election documents from the 2020 election, and transported them to a secure location. In addition to the physical documents, Miller also obtained digital files from the highly controversial election that Michigan's top election integrity experts and a few friends from out of state have been poring over for the past 3.5 months. We are now prepared to offer our first in a series of findings. Our first report from our investigation into Detroit's 2020 general election.
So the reason they were able to do this report is because a man from New Jersey actually got an opportunity to grab these documents and these ballots and to do an investigation about what happened in 2020 in Michigan. That's great.
Yeah.
Has uncovered a startling discovery: over 10,000 ghost voter ballots exhibiting a peculiar marking anomaly where voters filled in ovals for write-in candidates but left the accompanying namespaces entirely blank, effectively creating invalid votes that required manual review yet contributed to no specific candidate. This revelation comes amid the already chaotic backdrop of the former TCF Center, now Huntington Place, where Detroit centralized its absentee ballot processing during the unprecedented COVID-fueled surge in mail-in voting. One of the most underreported facts about the 2020 election in Detroit was its stunningly high adjudication rate, roughly 33%, or about 40,000 ballots.
Now, William, you want to explain what adjudication is?
Yeah, so what happens when the process of adjudication is, say for instance, a ballot comes in either damaged or it's just hard for it to be able, like if the bubble's not quite done right, the machine doesn't want to read it, then what a certified poll worker is to do is to take that ballot and then look at it with their own eyes and then discern what this ballot actually is saying, and then print out a new ballot and then fill that ballot out so that it can be scanned, and then destroy the old ballot so that it's not it's not just floating around out there. Now the only problem that you run into with adjudicators is how honest are they? And if now the thing is you'll be saying, well, that's not a problem because they're going to be monitored and poll watched by other people. But
that's not exactly what adjudication is. When it comes to a damaged ballot, you're right on that part. When it comes to a ballot, they don't know who they're voting for. At that point, they adjudicate it. What that means is they get three people, one from the Republican side, one from the Democrat side, and independent. And they'll look at the ballot and make a determination on who they are trying to actually vote for.
Yeah, if it's not bubbled in right or something.
Well, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's a check mark off the side. Or maybe they actually voted for both. And at that point, they have to actually determine that. Now, as you saw in this article, they said roughly 33%, or about 4,000 ballots, winded up adjudicated, which is unusual and unheard of, really.
Well, okay, I'll be devil's advocate. You ready? The reason why is because they had so many more mail-in ballots. That's what they say, anyways.
Well, actually, that ain't reason, because if you look at places like Utah, their adjudication is just like everywhere else around the country, right around in between 1% to 6%, depending.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very low.
Now, when it comes to here, it is 33% in 2020. Now, if you look at it in 2024, it was around 1% to 3%, or 1% to 4%, or 5%, 6%, whatever, like it normally is. And the reason it's different now is because of these ballots they found, 10,000 of them. They are ghost ballots that don't make any sense on what happened. Now, I'm going to show you a video of these ballots, but first let's go in and listen to more of the video, because we get more information here.
Ballot adjudication occurred when ballots were flagged for human intervention due to issues such as overvotes, undervotes, stray marks, and write-ins. Yet, even in this high volume, a typical election with over 200,000 total ballots processed citywide, such as specific...
Now, remember, those 40,000 ballots that were adjudicated, that's just in Detroit alone.
Yeah.
Error pattern at a 6% rate remains highly improbable, if not impossible, and remains undocumented in official audits or reports from the Michigan Bureau of Elections. It's important to note that these ghost votes occurred on both absentee and election day ballots. This comparison...
So it's not only absentee ballots or mail-in ballots, it's also voting that day.
Real quickly, now, if I'm not mistaken, you said three, you got independent, Democrat.
Yes, that's how it's supposed to be done.
In certain states, they ran off a lot of those people and also made it work.
That's the problem in Michigan. That's exactly what they did. That's the reason people have a problem with the adjudication numbers, because a lot of these people got thrown out. They were Republican, and the reason they got thrown out is because of COVID. They were too close to each other. But the thing is, they kept everybody who was a Democrat inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people pulled out votes under the table, ran it through the machine repeatedly.
That was mostly in Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah. Yeah.
Was prepared by Philip Davis, a member of our 2020 Detroit election results review team. The numbers shown below total over 11,000 write-in votes. Only a small number of these ballots included a name next to the filled-in oval for write-in candidates. These anomalies results occur.
All right, I want to go ahead and show you the video with the ballots here. Let me go ahead and bring it up. I don't think there's any. Okay, there's a music to it, so I'm going to have to mute it. All right.
Judas Priest.
Now, if you look at it right here, the reason it's marked is because it's bubbled, no name there. Same with these. These are bubbled up, no names. No name, no name, no name. Okay, so we'll go ahead and watch that.
Looks like a machine did that.
Actually, no. I have another theory of what happened here. As you can see, those are not neat and bubbles. They're actually quite. That one's pretty neat, but a lot of them are oval shape. This one, look at that one, all messed up looking.
Yeah.
Same with that one. That last one, that roll. None of them are the same. Yeah.
Why would they even put bubbles over there if there's no names? That's kind of weird too.
The write-ins. You can write in the particular candidate you want.
Somebody they wrote in. So who was it that one time? It was a bunch of write-ins. It was one election, and I can't remember. It was a funny name though. They did that was like it was. Well, I can't remember now. I just recall some kind of weird write-in candidate that they put in there. I was like, what the hell?
Well, some people did Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing with them doing that. As soon as they do that, whenever they like make it where it has to be adjudicated, these adjudicators adjudicate all the races on that ballot. No matter if it's actually filled out right or not when it comes to other races. And this is a theory that people are using in Michigan. That this is how they actually help steal the election in the middle of the night by getting ballots that had these places where they had no writing candidates. It was bubbled up and went through the machine. The machine's like, nope, spit it out and said, okay, you got to adjudicate it. They look at it and then they have to determine who actually do they think won. And then they go from there. And a lot of these times, these ballots that are adjudicated are going to Joe Biden. Majority of them.
Yeah, every one of them. It's like, wait a damn minute here. Yeah, it's like somebody like they had a bunch of ballots dropped that were done that way on purpose so they could be adjudicated.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. The reason they're doing that is because they want to force adjudication on a lot of these ballots. Not only that, sometimes these machines are making mistakes, the tabulators, and they'll get something that should be already they should count, and they'll spit it out and said it needs to be adjudicated, and all the bubbles are filled in right.
Yeah, well, and that's almost like they had miscalibrated the machine on purpose.
Well, I think that's what some of these, if you look at some of those ballots, how they have all those circles filled in a row, I think that's exactly what's supposed to do. It's supposed to miscalibrate that machine to make other ballots spit out to be adjudicated. That's my theory.
Yeah, that's a good theory. I mean, I've thought about that too. I have, yeah.
But I got more of this video. Let's go and
there was another they had software that makes them do fractional votes too, where it can do some weird stuff and throw numbers around. That was a weird thing that these things wrote into the software.
You're talking about the tabulators, yeah.
Yeah.
These anomalies results occurred only in down-ballot races, and almost all of them occurred where voters filled in the ovals on the upper portion of the ballot for a straight-ticket Democrat or for a Democratic presidential candidate, Joe Biden, or a Democratic U.S. Senate candidate, Gary Peters. This video, directed at Michigan Democrat Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, who called the 2020 election the most secure in Michigan history, is currently running to become the state's next Democrat governor candidate. It was provided by @mad_liberals, shows just a small sampling of the 10K plus ballots with ghost votes.
I
Here
just
is
showed
one
you that
example of
video.
the front of a ballot.
Yeah.
Here is an example of the back page of the ballot. Write-in attempts were rare overall, typically under 1% in Michigan races that year, and blank name ovals with no name attached, minuscule subset usually tied to isolated voter mistakes, were never flagged as occurring at this scale. With no evidence of widespread ballot design flaws, procedural lapses, or voter confusion to explain why more than 10,000 individuals would independently commit the exact same incomplete action. This deviation from norms across the state demands further scrutiny by the DOJ to verify or uncover potential underlying causes, mass voter fraud, for this impossible occurrence to happen in Detroit's 2020 electoral process. In Michigan's 2020 election process, including at Detroit's TCF Center, if a ballot had a write-in issue, such as a filled oval with no name isolated to a down-ballot race, e.g., local offices or judges, the up-ballot votes, e.g., presidential, U.S. Senate, or congressional, would still be counted as marked. Dominion tabulators scanned the entire ballot optically and tallied ballots.
So it's pretty much saying, even though they didn't actually vote for one of the main candidates, they voted third party or a write-in party, but they didn't write in the party itself. It still counted to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm guessing mostly it went to Democrats. That'd be my guess.
We'll just use this vote right here. Yeah. Hubris.
Marks for all races where no ambiguity existed. Only the problematic write-in race would be flagged for manual adjudication. The question is, was the entire ballot recreated and then rerun through the tabulators, including the up-ballot votes, i.e., Joe Biden, Senator Gary Peter, Representative Rashida Tlaib, which potentially could mean their votes were counted more than once? If none of the safeguards that should have been in place at the TCF or at polling places across Detroit were honored during Detroit's 2020 election, it would theoretically create significant opportunities for irregularities or manipulation, such as duplicate counting, improper adjudication, or untracked ballot handling. But to date, none of these 10,000 plus ghost voters with no names next to the ovals have been reported. Although we have our own theories about why this mass number of ballots was, intentionally, mismarked, we are seeking help from the general public. We are providing access to all ghost vote ballots here and hope that election integrity sleuths can help us determine all possible motives. Please send all theories to patty.mcmurray@thegatwaypundit.com. 2020
So, what's y'all's theory on this one?
Well, you laid out some good theories with that. You and I both did, with whether they're facilitating the adjudication process, basically, for their favor.
Well, here's the thing: when it comes to they stole the election in Michigan by 150,000 votes. So this is a small part of it. That's the reason it's part one. There'll be part two, 3, I'm sure. Now, because the Democrats, what they have really learned how to do is how to do on many different levels, whether it's mail-in voting, adjudication, in-person voting, ballot harvesting. They figured it all out on all sorts of different ways to actually affect an election so they can win.
And what most people to do on a normal scale of thinking, it'd be like, well, that doesn't have enough to affect the outcome. And but you got to remember that there's a multiple assault. When I call it an assault because of the way they do this, because that's war to me. You're trying to assault me, because it would be different if, like, you're trying to win, you're doing some shady stuff to win, but at the end of the day, it's a sustainable view for the country. But no, they are doing some shady mess to win, and when they do get in office, they want to destroy everything and just burn it to the ground. And I'm like, see, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, man, if you think it's bad there, yeah, I know, Andrew, I know.
Well, the thing is, they use the same practices in California. It just multiplied by about 10 or 15.
Well, and also there's a lot more an alliance in California, so it's really hard to infiltrate that group. You know, in some of these blue states, yeah, they're blue states, but there's still some normal thinking holdout. You call it conservative, call it Republican, but there's still people in some of these states that actually aren't on that side. But in California, it's locked. I call it locked down, and it's going to be very hard to get anybody to roll over, to admit anything. To you know, if we could, you know, if Republicans could do a half of that kind of organization, it'd be a wrap. But the thing about it is, if we did that, once we do have a majority, act like it. That's the problem I run into here. It's like, yes, you know, okay, we finally have a majority, but now you're not going to act like it. That's just not right.
Are you talking about the House and Senate and
Yeah.
Trump? All right, here I got a theory of what's going on here. Why you see a lot of this infighting on the conservative wing, especially online. You know why I think that's happening? I think a lot. No, I think a lot. I think there's. All right, look.
You said this before. You said this before because of the three different types of Republicans in the Republican Party.
No. This is another theory. I think it's because people online want there to be Democrats in charge of something, and the reason is because then you can talk shit about them. Right now, the only people you got to talk shit about is your own party, and that's the reason you got this division. But the thing is, if you can get the Democrats to win the House, then at that point, these Republicans that are online, that are making money off of this stuff, they're doing the same thing we're doing. They'll be like this. Awesome. Now we can talk shit about the House all we want because now the Democrats are in charge of the House. That's my theory.
I mean, I'm gonna lie. I know it's a theory, and it's sad. And I hope that's not right. That's not right.
I think
That's
it's right.
But I mean, all you'd have to do is just do something. Like.
Well, here's the thing. When has this House ever done anything?
Well, there's still no excuse for not doing anything. Like, do something.
I'm just telling you, they're doing the same thing they've been doing for years.
Oh, I know. It's just that now they're being watched like hawks, and they're not used to that.
Yeah, but the thing is, what would benefit these conservative content creators? To have an enemy that runs something so they can talk about it. Democrats would be that in the House.
Well, that's a very, very dangerous truth, because if that's what these people are worried about more than they are actually just trying to get somebody to do something, that's a problem.
Well, here's the other thing also, I think. Like, it's the same thing I've talked about before. There's three different types of Republicans, too. You have the MAGA, you have the normal conservative Republican. Then you have the MAGA, then you have America First. There's very few people that are completely America First. And there's quite a few people that are MAGA, but the thing is, what the difference between MAGA and the regular conservative Republicans is starting to like get almost no difference. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell the difference between the two anymore.
I know. Yeah, that's not good either. No.
And you know, the reason I'm coming up with this theory, I actually heard someone else talk about it, and it was Tim Pool. And he was talking about it. He's like this, that's what, and I was like this, what? Makes sense. These guys want to make money. And one conservative content creator told Tim, he's like, just go and make your bag, which I was like, I don't even know what that means.
That makes money.
Go make your money. Yes. And what he's telling them is make your money now. And then once it switches over to the Democrats taking over the House, you can make more money then.
That's a shame. That's not because the point of the reason why I'm even doing this is not because of the money. It's because I want to see a difference. I want to see America.
I understand that. And
these people are doing it for the money.
Oh, yeah. And I was trying to figure out who he could have been talking to. I mean, I could think of a few names. I'm not going to say them out loud because I just don't know if I'm right. But they're bigger content creators that have a large following. And it would not surprise me if they thought that way. And that's the only way to keep making money is if they actually have a perceived enemy in the in the House.
Well,
Such
Dr.
as
Abel would never
Democrats
do that.
picking it. Well, Doug Tenable, be honest with you, Doug Tenable's not. You know, he's actually defending Trump, defending Mike Johnson, and defending Pam Bondi. So,
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
he's not really actually participating in that.
yeah.
He actually, you know, he's one of these people that's, I gotta say, he's pretty honest about what he wants to happen to the Democrat Party. So,
with Pam Bondi in charge, the Democrat Party will definitely become very powerful.
well, here's the thing also about the House of Representatives. This is my opinion. My opinion, the House and Senate, they have lost a lot of power in the last 12 to 15 years. Now they're trying to get it back. Like, they took a lot of the war powers from Trump in this last vote they had. And a lot of people are upset about it. And the other thing that's happening now is it's going through the Supreme Court. I don't know if they're going to decide how they're going to decide, but they're talking about actually taking away Trump's ability to do tariffs anymore and change tariff rates. And the reason is because that was actually the House's job to actually do tariffs. Now, the president could be the negotiator, but then when they decide on agreements on a trade deal and tariffs, it has to go through the House to be looked at. I was going to say adjudicated, be looked at and confirmed, and then go to the Senate and get voted on like a regular bill or a law would be. And Trump hasn't done that. So I would say there is actually a good chance that Trump actually might lose that Supreme Court case when it comes to tariffs, and then all that tariff money he's gained, he's been like talking up about, will actually have to go back to the countries that we got it from. Not only that, the tariff rates would have to go back to the original point. And then if that happens, guess what, guys? Inflation. Anybody?
You don't get your $2,000 check.
Nope. Won't be able to do that. Yeah. So it really depends on if the Supreme Court actually agrees. Because the thing is, the ones that are suing is not Democrats, which is remarkable. It's actually Republicans that did that lawsuit. Well, it's the libertarian side of the Republican Party. And, you know, technically they're right. Technically, if you look at the Constitution and the way it was written, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
So
kind of bad timing though. Could have done that whenever.
Yeah. The thing is, I was like this. I look at them and I'm like, well, why didn't you do that in his first term?
Or better yet, when Biden was running shit.
Well, Biden didn't change tariffs.
No, but they could have got. But exactly. But there's money to be made off tariff if it's done right.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Most of these libertarians believe a tariff is a tax on the American people. Okay, which technically they're right. It is. It's just unforeseen tax. You don't see it actually. Well, you see it when you buy food and so on and so forth. And that's what Ron Paul, Thomas Massey, all of them argue.
Well, then why? Okay, if you want, I mean, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but let's just say, well, then, you want to really work on this IRS thing and try to do something with that anytime soon?
First thing, the IRS is a government agency. A tariff is decided by the government's action to put tariffs on someone else on goods coming into the United States from that particular place. Like if you're getting goods from China, he's putting tariffs on it to raise the price on those goods. Now you have a choice whether or not you can buy it. This is true. But here's the issue. When you don't have competition in the United States to actually compete with those particular products, and you only got two different products you could buy, and all of them have tariffs on them, then you're paying an unforeseen tax that's decided by the federal government, not by the agency and the IRS. Not only that, it was not passed by the House and Senate to do the tariff. That's the difference. Like whenever the IRS has to do increased taxes, they don't do it on their own. They have to go. It has to be passed through the House and Senate and then signed into law by the President of the United States. That's how democracy works. Now, unfortunately, when you're bypassing that with tariffs, and you're not going through the House and Senate to actually confirm the tariff and make it law, then at that point it's a tax that's illegal by their by their opinion. Which it's hard for me to argue that they're wrong. It's hard for me to do it.
Yeah, we just can't afford to pay all that money back right now.
Well, the thing is, supposedly he hadn't spent it. So what they'll have, and not only that, they'll just print the money anyway. That's why I'm telling you, what would happen actually if that happened, inflation would go up. And really, this is another situation where I think Trump should have hedged his bets and just went the right way and done things the right way in order to keep, getting shit on like this. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I also think that's another reason he went into Venezuela, because all that oil that we're going to be getting from there is actually going to put a padding on that. Will pad that landing from giving all that money back for tariffs.
When you say padding, I can't help but think about Tim Walz.
All right, it slows down the fall, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tim Walz likes his maxi pads.
I heard he likes horse sperm too. All right.
Yes, I know, that's so weird. That's probably really him too that did that.
I don't know. Here's another story. Ilhan Omar and other Democrats kicked out of ICE headquarters in Minneapolis. Minnesota, Minneapolis.
She should count her blessings, because she should be in there being deported right now.
Dems proceed to fume as they revealed their reasons they were tossed out. Oh, what was the reason?
Because they bitch ass mofos.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
It's all about precision here. Yeah, cushions. The bigger the cushion, the more the pushing, if you know what I mean. Big bottom, big bottom. Talk about butt flaps. My baby's got them. Dude,
you guys got a car, do you?
Here comes a Haitian with no driver's license, upside down, with a cat hanging out of its mouth.
They ate the cats. They ate the dogs.
I remember the song.
Yeah,
that was a good song. They should be deporting him, Ilhan Omar. They need to deport her ass.
Here's the interview from one of the Congresswomen.
There's no real basis for not allowing members of Congress. And I just want to put a little meat on these bones. You people
had to get a penis guy to do the talking.
Money that gets spent at these detention centers, hence your right and obligation to inspect them without notice.
Yeah, it was completely nonsensical. We were told because this facility is being funded by the One Big Beautiful Bill, not the Congressional Appropriations Act, that we would not be allowed to enter the facility. You know, that's complete nonsense. And, you actually said it. I did have the recent court ruling from December 17th from the District of Columbia with me. At the facility, they refused to look at it. I informed them that they were violating the law. They said they didn't care. So this is consistent with exactly what we're seeing on the streets by the Department of Homeland Security. Ice Barbie has Secretary Noem. She has told this agency to go rogue, to not follow the law. And frankly, that's exactly what we experienced inside this detention center today.
So you drew the line because these are not separate things. You're dealing with immigration enforcement and detention at a federal facility, but that's not disconnected to what we've been talking about that's been happening in Minneapolis, the shooting of Renee Good, which was technically, according to Kristi Noem, immigration enforcement. But neither does that seem to be the case, nor do any of the 4 videos that we've seen from different angles, including one released by the Department of Homeland Security, back up the administration's claims about Renee Good being a domestic terrorist or trying to run down an ICE officer. None of this seems to make any sense or be true or comport with the law.
Well, look, J.D. Vance has been sent in to try to clean this up. Because even the video that emerged yesterday from the actual officer, first of all, if you think you are at risk of imminent harm, do you carry around your cell phone and take video
It's
footage
body
of
cam.
the encounter?
No, it's not.
Look,
It's a
Renee
cell
Cell
Good
phone?
should not
Oh,
be
well, it doesn't
dead
matter.
today.
Oh,
Members of
okay.
Congress should be able, because that is our responsibility. That is us doing our jobs to tour a detention facility. The Trump administration, the Department of Homeland
They
Security,
never let anybody, like, whenever,
they are lawless at this point. And I hope every single Minnesotan, especially who lives in a congressional district represented by a Republican, speaks out and calls their member of Congress now. It has to stop. And these Republican members have got to start speaking out.
If I remember correctly, there were a bunch of people on January 6th being held in gulags, and people wanted to, congressmen wanted to go check on them, and they would never let them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back at you, bitch. Yeah. Ice Barbie. I'm kind of digging that name. I'm down with that. We'll roll with Ice. Ice Barbie's doing a fine job. She's doing great.
Well, the thing is, everything she said there in that video, she's right. They do have a right to check out the ICE facility without telling ICE that they're coming. They don't have to, because part of their job is actually to look into that kind of thing. But here's my biggest thing. Why didn't y'all look into ICE whenever ICE was doing this when Obama was in office? You in the media had no interest or gave a shit about what Obama was doing when he was deporting people like he did. And now, since it's a Republican, you're doing your crybaby protesting and getting these congressmen to go and do their job. This is actually part of the job. And
yeah, well, so
go
like
and
I say,
look into these facilities. And unfortunately, you didn't do that whenever Biden was in office, or not Biden, but Obama, actually Biden too. And if you would have done it when Obama was in office, you would have actually saw the border was wide open. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, like I said, there was all these people being held in federal prisons, D.C. gulags, and whenever congressmen, people wanted to go, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, wanted to go check, see what's going on, to verify the claims of isolation and all stuff, they would never let them in. Would run them off, tell them that you couldn't come in, not allowed to come in, sorry, and lock the doors. This happened multiple times, and crickets. Nobody said anything then, and you can honestly say that these illegals are being held in a much better facility than any of these J6 people that should have never been in there to begin with. I mean, yeah, there were some bad actors, but a lot of these people didn't do anything to deserve to be put in isolation. And what that's torture.
Yeah, I guess another word we could use is these congressmen in the House and Senate have oversight over what is going on in these ICE facilities, as well as the prisons that were in DC, because it's federal funds that are going to those particular things. Thus, they have oversight on all that.
Yeah, true that. Yep. I don't know what's going on.
Got another video here. I want to go ahead and show. Let's see what she has to say.
I joined my colleagues Ilhan Omar and Angie Craig this morning to attempt to conduct congressional oversight of this ICE detention facility here in Minneapolis. We were briefly given entry, and then by actually local officials, and then very abruptly were told to leave. We met with two of the commanding officers, and they told us that the reason we were not able to stay and meet with any of the detainees is because the funding for ICE came through the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So they are not following the law here. This is very concerning. And I made it actually a direct plea to these commanding officers that we are grieving here in Minnesota. People are afraid, and it would do a lot to bring down the temperature if they allowed us to go in and have some transparency for the people of Minnesota. And they very abruptly denied it without explanation.
I was just talking to Congresswoman Omar and then Congresswoman Craig, who said that she had the December 17th court decision that indicated that.
That's right.
I mean, one shouldn't have to show it, because if you work at a federal facility, you must know that members of Congress have a right to be there without notice. That said, that doesn't make any sense. The reason they gave you doesn't make any sense. That if the funding came from the big beautiful bill, that is a congressionally passed bill. That's still money appropriated by Congress. That distinction doesn't make any sense.
That's exactly right. And, you know, Allie, as a physician, one of the reasons, as a member of Congress as well, of course, that I wanted to see the conditions.
She wants to give out COVID shots.
Because one of the things that I am so worried about in this moment in the history of our country is our humanity. We have to step back and take the 10,000-foot view. What are we doing here? The great American experiment should not be based on fear. The American people want transparency. They want to understand what is happening to their country. And so we were unable to speak with any of the detainees. We briefly saw a group of young appearing men sitting on a very narrow bench, holding their heads in their hands. There were no beds. There were no blankets. They said there were showers. We did not see any showers. But we were not given the opportunity to conduct actual oversight. We were told that most of them stay less than 12 hours, but then they did admit that occasionally they were there longer. So this is just, none of this is okay. And I'm calling for ICE to leave Minnesota right now. At a minimum, we need a national pause on these ICE operations.
No.
Oversight.
No.
Thorough.
Dude, we need to double down. No, she needs to be deported.
Good here.
That's exactly why they did this. Or, in my opinion, they set this all up for this very reason. They want to stop the deportations because they know once you have another
election,
census, and you take these people off of the census, they are being deported or deporting themselves. Democrats are going to lose a lot of House seats and a lot of electoral votes, and that's going to affect elections for thereon, because at that point you're going to have Trump, you're going to have Republicans. Hopefully, they stay in power. We'll see what happens when it comes to midterms and when it comes to the presidency. You will have because the next time they count the census is 2030. They're estimating that if he deports a lot of people and then you get J.D. Vance in 2028 and he keeps deporting people and they do a census in 2030, they're estimating it'll change the electoral college map because also people moving. And you'll have 12 electoral votes still move to from Democrat states to Republican states. That means at that point, you don't need to win Arizona to actually win the presidency.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I say, that lady should be deported. Ilhan Omar needs to be deported. That lady's one of those people that she's a nut job. She's one of those liberal, lefty, Karen white women that's going to destroy. What are black people seeing in white people or white women any now? Why are they doing this?
What?
I don't understand it.
That's the most dangerous block of voting right there is liberal white women.
Anything like dude. I just did a video of where it'll be coming out in the morning, but that Dan Bonvino guy, or was the Bovino, however you said that border commander, eviscerates that lefty lawmaker volunteer chick who is in Minnesota, and she's like, you're doing that thing where they talk real like, oh yes, and what do you think about such and such, and it's being a bitch, just pretty much, while they smile at you, and she's trying to make a point. This guy just levels her immediately, where she has to keep stopping and using her phone to check something because she needs more. They'll do that so that it gives them time to like she acts like she's messaging somebody, but really she's just taking a minute to try to think of something. And so I did that. That's coming out tomorrow in the morning. But And what about that Portland police chief crying over the Trinidad Agua people that had to be identified as Trinidad Aguas that got shot? Isn't that wild? He was crying about that stuff. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. No.
I did a video of it, and I dropped that right before we went live here. And in the beginning, and somehow or another, I got away with it. But I used a Monostat 7 commercial from 1993 to get it all up and running.
Okay. Cool.
Before
All
they had
right.
Monostat 1.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and end the show. We really appreciate you guys checking us out. Please hit that like button, comment, and share this out to everybody. And ignore William's product placement. He doesn't get anything from it if you buy Monostat.
No, if you're going to, why would you buy Monostat 7 if you can get Monostat 1 anyways? What's up with that? Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Stormbringer. Jeff, Bradley, you big old hugs to all you wonderful people out there. And my beautiful wife for hanging out with us. She's in the back.
All right.
Or actually, she's in the front. Something.
All right. We'll talk to y'all later. I will see
See you
y'all
later.
tomorrow. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow morning. I'm doing a live tomorrow morning talking about Venezuela because some information came out that's interesting about that. Come and check it out.
Vagistat.